Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing great. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Wednesday Wisdom as we literally crawl our way through the book of Luke. Man, I hope you have enjoyed it so far. I know it's been challenging for me, and this week is no different. You know, one of the things I love about doing these videos is it gives myself and Chuck a chance just to be honest with you, to be honest what God's doing in our own hearts, our own thoughts, our own minds. And today is no different. Just going to go over a couple of verses in chapter 5. But really these two big ideas that kept coming to mind that I know I wrestle with, and you know maybe you do too, is simply this: doubts and hope. Doubts and hope. I think if we're honest, we all have doubts. And it's those places of doubts that we also have high hopes. And so we're going to see that today as we jump into Luke chapter 5, verse 12. Where Luke writes, while he was in one of the cities, there came a man full of leprosy. When he saw Jesus, he fell on his face and begged him, Lord, if you will, you can make me clean. And Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I will be clean. Now, look, you can read right over that and be like, okay, yeah, Jesus cured a leper. What's the deal? There's so much more to that. You know, when you really understand leprosy, especially back then, gosh, we're on the backside of COVID, or, you know, wherever we are with COVID, but it wasn't that long ago, 2020, right? Everybody was so scared of being within arm's reach of anyone. I mean, you can see on YouTube some of the COVID fails of just how scared people were of each other. That was nothing compared to leprosy. If you had leprosy back then, you had to literally walk into a room and announce unclean, unclean, unclean at the top of your lungs. People couldn't go near you, much less touch you, because leprosy was highly contagious and was essentially a death sentence. And you were made unclean, which means you didn't have any hope to know Jesus. You didn't have any hope to go to the temple. You weren't allowed in the temple. You weren't allowed in certain areas. I think COVID gave us an idea, but still was nowhere near what it meant to have leprosy. And so we see this man go to Jesus. And there was a couple things that grabbed me where he says, Lord, if you will, you can make me clean. If you will. What is that for you? What is that area right now that you are maybe doubting God? Is there something you're hoping for and you're not seeing it come to fruition? Is there an if you prayer? Is there an if you, God, if you will do this, if you will do that? I mean, we all have them. But what I love is he didn't just ask God if you can. He said, if you will, you can. Like there's a bold faith to say, Jesus, I know you can heal me. Jesus, I know you can cure me. If you will. And I think that's an incredible place to be, if I'm honest with you. Because God's will is God's will. There's a reason why God's God and I'm not. There's a reason why God does things that he doesn't ask for my opinion. There's a reason why some people get healed and some people don't. There's a reason why some people walk out of that hospital, and there's a reason why some people pass away. And I don't know those reasons. It's just like this leper right here. I don't know why Jesus chose to heal him, but yet there's other people where Jesus didn't. But what I know is this, is God is good, God is able, and he can be trusted. He can be trusted. And it takes a bold faith to say, I know you can. If you will, you can heal me. Kind of reminds me back in the story of Daniel with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I was reading that to my 6-year-old last night where they were in the fire, and Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were like, look, King, you can throw us into the fire and God's going to save us, but if he don't, we're still not going to worship your gods, and God is still God. So what is that in your life? Where is their doubts? Where is their hopes? You know, sometimes I think we can really learn a lot from this leper, to know that God is able, but even if it doesn't turn out how we hope, it's okay. God's still God, and I'm not. But I think placing your faith and your hope in Jesus in the midst of your doubts, no matter how things turn out, no matter how things look, no matter how dismal things can get, if you will, you can make me clean. You know, the story, you know, it ends. I want to wrap things up in this one verse. In 13, it says, Jesus stretched out his hand and touched him. You know, you can read over that and not think anything twice about it, but the fact that Jesus touched a leper says a lot, because that's how you catch leprosy. A leper will spend their whole lives without feeling human touch. And here Jesus is touching him. Jesus will go through any barrier. Jesus will cross any lines to touch your life. Man, we have such an amazing God. Anyway, y'all, thanks for spending a few minutes this week. We look forward to seeing you back next week. Hey, stay with us on social media. We've got a lot of things going on. It's the end of the year. So keep up to date. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those fun things. Have a great Wednesday.